Welcome to my review session. Please put your email in the chat so I could take attendance. And we can begin. You guys are welcome to jump in to answer anytime or type it in the chat. Our first column is food supply. What is a genetically modified organism or transgenic organism?
Is it an organism that's had its genes modified?
Yep, through genetic engineering, with the FDA affirming its safety. In the US, corn and soybeans make up 90% of GMOs. What is temperature danger zone? And why is this important to know for food supply?
I think, isn't the temperature between like 40 something and 60 something degrees?
40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. High temperature kills bacteria but doesn't deactivate them. And this is super important to know, especially if you plan to work in like restaurants or in food supply, because the temperature in between these two ranges, it's the most uh what's it called? Like fertile, like bacteria duplicates the most. They reproduce the most during this time. It's the most ideal space for them. And so if you leave food out and it stays in that temperature for a long period of time, like a foodborne illness or some like virus or bacteria can grow very well and get people very sick. Why are food additives used?
To help foods last longer.
Yep, food lasts longer. They typically don't come with the food itself, like it's not grown. Um, but it helps extend shelf life, prevent undesirable changes in color and flavor by inhibiting enzymes and increasing food safety through agents like antioxidants, antimicrobials, and pickling agents. How to reduce exposure to pesticides.
I think one of the ways is to thoroughly wash your vegetables.
Yeah, by washing your produce, peeling and trimming, consume for variety, choosing to buy organic. What is the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act?
Is that Food and Food and Drug Administration? No, no, National Food and Drug Administration. No, no.
It's
Yeah,
reviewed by the FDA. Yeah. So the FDA approves anything that is added to food to make sure it's safe. before it's released to the public. The next section is global nutrition. What is chronic malnutrition?
Is when the person is not having the nutrients and the vitamins that they need or enough protein. Oh, definition.
Yeah, it is a condition from not eating enough of what you just said, nutrients, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and it leads to nutrient deficiencies, include both overweight and underweight individuals. It increases the risk of preterm births, especially if you are a pregnant woman, intellectual disabilities, stunted growth, poor academic performance, and decreased work output and chronic diseases. What is nutrition security? It's an emerging concept, complements food security initiatives by addressing health inequities and ensuring access to both adequate food and proper nutrition. What are strategies to address nutrient deficiencies?
I think one of them is to fortify foods.
Fortification, like you said, supplementations, which are cost-effective ways to target larger populations, and micronutrient supplementations, which provide birth weight during pregnancy and increase height and weight in children. And one of the examples we've been talking about is like how flour was fortified with four different type of nutrients, as well as how salt is fortified with iodine to prevent goiters. So those are some common examples in America. What is the U.S. Farm Bill?
Is the US government initiative that help farmers, like local farmers? Or I don't know.
Not specifically farmers, but for nutrition programs for specifically low-income families, including SNAP, also known as food stamps, school breakfast and lunch, congregate meals, and WIC, which is for like pregnant women or like families with like growing young children. And SNAP is something that is also available to college students. What are food deserts?
I think it's places that don't have a lot of access to fresh foods.
These areas often lack full-service grocery stores and access to healthy foods, leading to limited nutritious food options for residents. And I remember learning about how in a lot of like countries where the US was like shipping them very canned American goods and stuff like that, even though they were receiving a lot of nutrition, it wasn't culturally relevant to them. So that was also creating a bunch of tension. So food deserts are also becoming like more like these initiatives that target food deserts are becoming more culturally sensitive too. Fertility, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. What is polycystic ovarian syndrome? PCOS.
It's a condition where there's a bunch of cysts on someone's ovaries, and it affects your hormones and kind of the way your body works.
Yeah, it leads to female infer infertility and is characterized, like you said, by hormonal imbalances and tiny cysts around the ovaries. It often results in irregular and absent periods, difficulty becoming pregnant, and higher rates of spontaneous abortions. What are key nutrients for fertility?
I know folate is essential for pregnant women. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it plays a key role in DNA synthesis and metabolism, and antioxidants like vitamin E, C, selenium, zinc, and beta carotene, iron, and zinc. When does malnutrition and nutrition deficiency affect mother's ability to breastfeed the most? Which of the three trimesters?
Which of the trimesters
Hmm.
you're asking? Is the second and the third that we have to eat more calories, I know, but
Yeah,
ah,
second trimester. Um, like the studies have found out that if a mother um carries a baby full to term, but during the second trimesters of the baby's development, the mom is like super malnourished, then when the baby comes out, like she'll have a very hard time producing enough um milk to breastfeed. Why should females not consume high saturated fat for fertility? High saturated fat promotes insulin resistance and impair ovulation. And researchers have found out that when a mother or like a father during consumption like is super um like weighs a lot more, then the baby will also have inherit that trait for like weight gaining and affect their health. Why should you not have closely spaced siblings born less than 12 months apart? Why should a mother not conceive babies within like a year? I think they're kind of like Irish twins when some babies are super close in age. But why should a mother not make that choice to have Irish twins?
I think that she likely won't have enough nutrients to provide for the second pregnancy.
Yeah. Lack of time to rebuild nutrient stores depleted by pregnancy, so lower both birth rate for the second child typically. So the baby tends to have priority in nutrition. So whatever the mom eats, like the baby gets it first, and then the mom is secondary. So when like the first baby drains a pregnant mother of a lot of her storages for like nutrients, and throughout the first year after that child is born, the mother is restocking her storages. But if the she gets pregnant again, less than 12 months apart, I than the first baby, then the second baby will just keep draining her resources, which could lead to a lot of risk and complications and health problems. So it's important to let that 12 months for regaining nutrients. Infant, child, teen nutrition. Which child is taller? The child in the 20th percentile or a child in the 60th percentile? And why is the percentile system like important?
I think the 60th percentile is taller.
Yep. The 60th percentile. In growth charts, percentiles represent a child's position relative to peers of the same age and sex. A child in the 60th percentile for height or weight is larger or heavier than 60% of their peers and smaller or lighter than the remaining 40%. And growth charts that measure a child's percentile is super important to detecting like health problems, especially because like weight gain in child is important to know like how well they're doing relative to their peers. So if suddenly they're like not matching the trajectory of what they're supposed to be, it's a good like first indicator of something is wrong. Where does a child's main source of nutrition come from for the first 6 months of their life? Or at least it's recommended.
I think from breast milk or formula.
Breast milk or formula? What stage of life does the brain grow the fastest? During infancy? What vitamins should parents especially pay attention to for infancy?
Vitamin D to that it's used to synthesize the cardi.
Yeah, vitamin K, D, and B12 if the breastfeeding parent is vegan. What supplements should children consume?
If they don't have enough like nutrition, so or they have any deficiency, they do have to have like
That's so true.
supplementation.
I should change the question to what supplements should healthy children consume? And then it'll be a trick question. They're not supposed to consume anything if they're eating like a diverse
Uh,
diet, like a lot of vegetables,
uh-huh.
fruits, and protein, then they're fine. It's unnecessary. But if a doctor like realizes, oh, they're like lacking in certain vitamins and they are medicated with certain supplements, that would be necessary. But if they're healthy children, this is a trick question, they don't need anything. This is the other section questions I didn't know where to put. What is Listeria monocytogenes?
Listeria is not the bacteria that is found in food, usually raw food.
It is, but it's especially important for pregnant individuals to be aware of because it is found in unpasteurized milk, soft cheeses made from raw milk. So even if you put these in the fridge, this bacteria will like still be alive and thriving. And raw vegetables like cabbages, sprouts, and raw animal products, it will cause a lot of health problems for pregnant individuals. So it's recommended to like cook all these before you eat it and never eat it raw while you're pregnant. Because like a pregnant woman is they're immune compromised. What is direct food aid?
I think is that when food is directly given to a community?
Oh yes, this is what sort of what we were talking about earlier about the cultural sensitivity and directly giving food. It is helpful in the short term, But it's not a good long-term solution because it could lower local food prices, provide inappropriately cultural foods, and create dependence on external aid. So like solutions that are more helpful long term would be like developing a lot of systems that support local groceries and stuff like that instead of just giving them the food directly. Why do people farm insects?
To do the pollination of.
Pollination is good for farming like vegetables and fruit, but why farm insects? So the thing they're growing is like bugs, not vegetables or fruit.
Ah, do farming insect. Okay, to eat.
Yep,
To have
to eat
protein intake.
ectomorph most
Uh,
figgy to grow insects. It's more sustainable for the environment as well. It's super high protein. They're super high nutrients dense. They are rich in iron, calcium, and B vitamins and require fewer inputs compared to other protein sources. So if you guys haven't tried crickets or scorpions, or it might be a new food of the future. And there's a lot
yeah,
of
I
cultures
haven't.
out there that do eat it too. Like in Vietnam and in some parts of South America, they like regularly do eat insects. But a lot of people are seeing this as a potential to environmental like solution.
That's true.
Why is offal a sustainable solution?
Offal is when you plant two different types of like vegetables in the same place. Is that it? I forgot. What is offal?
Now, this is different. This is animal parts, and it includes like the insides, all of the intestines and guts and organs, and they're very nutrient dense. Like liver is super dense with iron. Eating blood is also very dense in iron, and it helps contribute to reducing food waste. Consuming them cuts down on waste, lowers export costs, and provides more iron, zinc, and vitamin B6 and B12 than lean muscle meat. Because in America, especially if you go to a grocery store, most of the meat is like the best cut of like breast in chicken or like steak, like New York, like all of the insides are like not available for purchase because they only get the ones what the consumers want. But I know like in Asian supermarkets and stuff, a lot of these are available for purchase because it's like a cultural, like it's normal in Asian culture to consume it, but in American culture, it's not something people eat every day. Like most people have never had liver or intestines and stuff like that. But this is very sustainable because you're getting a lot of nutrients. Like a lot of people are moving towards a head to tail method of consuming where they try to eat every part of a cow or like a chicken so it doesn't go to waste and like make broth out of bones or and even eat the bone marrow. So there's a lot of movement towards this type of consumption. What
That's
are
interesting
viruses?
because in
Oh, sorry,
Brazil,
go for it.
oh, sorry. I'm from Brazil originally. Yeah, so in Brazil, when you go to the grocery shop, you can find like every part of like the chicken, the feet, the organs and the limbs. But here you don't really find it, even if you want.
Yeah.
It's
When
not.
I'm trying to look for a specific ingredient, I have to go to like five different stores and like Whole Foods doesn't have it, Ralph's doesn't have it, Albertsons doesn't have it. So it's kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What are viruses? They are also pathogens, and they can only reproduce after invading body cells, often labeled as stomach flu, and are difficult to test for. They are tough to kill and often affect long-term care facilities. And this is also important to know for like nutrition. That's why it's super important for food safety. If you're more curious about learning about food safety, there's like classes being taught at the library, where you could get certified and learn more about like specific temperatures meats have to be in and all the different kind of foodborne illnesses that are very common in restaurants and how to prevent them, which is pretty cool. Okay, that concludes our review session. Thank you guys all for coming. Please put your email in the chat if you haven't already, and I'll stay for questions if anyone has any. And
Okay,
good
thank
luck on
you
your
very
final
much. Thank you. Where should I put my name, you said?
in the chat.
Ah, tá. Okay, okay.
Good luck on your final.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh wait, put your
Oh, the
email.
next
Sorry. Can you put your email in the chat so I could take
ah, yeah.
attendance?
The next review